Here we go, episode 46 uploaded, coming at you here after a great weekend of Kentucky Derby and Oaks preps. We're back at it again, getting ready for another incredible weekend coming up in about 6 days. But you know what? We had a good time on Saturday. Things worked out for us. Let's get started and take a look at our recap for our weekend winners. All right, we weren't alone. A lot of people liked Sandman to win the Arkansas Derby. I was only surprised that he was third choice in the wagering, and we got $9.40 coming back. That was awesome. Great performance there. Sandman was in the perfect spot, and I think what made the race was that the pace scenario developed the way that we thought it would. We knew Cornucopian was going to pop out of there and try to get out. We knew Speed King had to keep him company in order to keep him honest. So the two of them, they really pushed it, and unfortunately, they both got cooked on the front end, but I don't care. I needed you to do that. If you don't do that, Sandman can't have the setup that he has. If they don't do that, Publisher doesn't do what he does, have a nice little performance there. So I just think that if you've got speed, man, quit messing around. You have to go. So you think about this. The last time that Speed King ran, it was the race where Madaket Road, or maybe it was Getaway Car, went out there and tried to get away from the field, and he had some challenges there, and it wasn't able to work out. Speed King didn't challenge, tried to sit off the speed, and then the horse got cooked anyway in his last performance. So you had to go. Your horse is going to get cooked one way or the other. Either you get away with it like you did before at Oaklawn, or you don't. But you have to go. You have to go. Like, sometimes it's kind of hard to tell if the jockeys are engaging or not. And the perfect example is a race a few years back, Breeders' Cup Classic. You had Nix go, Art Collector, who has a little bit of pace, and Medina Spirit, Hot Rod Charlie. They're all in the race, right? Now look, we know Hot Rod Charlie's not going to win a race. We know that. And Art Collector just needs the right setup because he's got a little bit of speed. So what happens was Nix Go pops out of there, and we're all expecting as players, well, Medina Spirit will engage him and maybe soften him up. But Johnny V didn't do that. He took Medina Spirit back. He was third early on. Art Collector was second. Nix Go was out there. And then when they turn for home, Nix Go takes off, and then here comes Medina Spirit to run second. And I spoke with Johnny V about that. And I love John Velasquez. He's fantastic. But I'm always trying to understand why they do what they do. So I asked him, like, hey, on paper, it looks like you're the horse that's supposed to go with Nix Go. And you didn't. And he's like, well, I didn't want to get cooked on the front end. And I'm like, but you're a speed horse. Like, okay, at the end of the day, he's right and I'm wrong, because he salvages place and he gets $800,000. Everybody's happy with the connections. But players, the bettors were like, and it's sour grapes, no doubt. But we're still like, dude, you were supposed to go and you messed up some of the bets. But that happens, right? He made the right decision for his horse. He just wasn't right necessarily for our individual handicapping. So that's one of those things that's always intriguing to me. So great job. Sandman wins, and he looks good, and he's getting better each time out. The other Kentucky Derby prep would have been the Florida Derby. Now this one, initially I liked Sovereignty, and then the jockey was replaced, and I don't really, certain jockeys I just don't vibe with, and Manny Franco's a really good rider. He's not a difference maker, in my opinion. I don't recall watching any race where I'm like, oh my God, did you see what Manny Franco did? No. But he doesn't need my endorsement, doesn't care what I think. He's going to make his millions of dollars. He's fine. But I felt like he wasn't going to be able to make a difference with Sovereignty. Meanwhile, Luis Saez does a perfect job with Tappan Street, or Tappan Street, whatever they want to call him. This is the only industry where you cannot get a horse's name right. Try finding a professional athlete in baseball, football, basketball, hockey, where if you don't say the name right, someone's going to correct you. You're not going to be able to say Giannis Antetokounmpo 4 different ways. There's only one way to do it. Now we got track announcers saying Tappan Street, handicappers saying Tappan Street, whatever. The horse looked really good. He won the Florida Derby. Not good enough, though. Not good enough to make my Derby top 5. Here's a look at our new Derby top 5 here, with about 33 days remaining to Kentucky Derby number 151. Citizen Bull stays up there until someone knocks him off, and that might be journalism this weekend. It's going to be a great matchup. Look, Sovereignty's still a good horse. And I got to be honest with you, I don't think Manny Franco is going to keep that mount for the Derby. So we'll see who rides that horse. and he could be in the mix. Obviously, we love what Tistastic and Sandman had been doing the whole time. They had been on the Derby top 5 list before, but they weren't really pushing through, so I had to remove them. Happy that they were able to come back, and happy that they're going in the right direction. The question is, will they get some company on the list this weekend? The race coming up on Saturday is so good. It's the $750,000 Grade 2 Wood Memorial, Saturday at Aqueduct. You don't understand, people. This is going to be a great race, and I love a horse in here. But let's look at the field. All right, from top to bottom, got a field of 12 runners. You see the red marks. Red mark for me means that they're going to provide speed or pace. Remember, speed and pace are two different things, in my opinion. Speed is just naturally what the horse has, and they'll be placing them in certain spots. Pace is how they all stack up together and what that does to the shape of the race, right? You know Rodriguez is going to go. Mike Smith is not going to be shy from the inside spot. Now, I also feel like Sand Devil has to go too. And Grande has to go. So those are 3 horses for sure I think will go. Now, the others, Tiger 24, maybe pressing. Captain Cook, maybe stalking. My Matoli, because Luis Rivera Jr. is aggressive, he might be pressing, right? And then Bear Claw Necklace, he's not remotely fast enough, but they got no choice. They got to try to get position early on, okay? That's all my horse needs. We have loved Hill Road since the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. This horse, and now you get a really, really good closing rider in Joel Rosario. All I need is for 3 horses to go to the front end, and Hill Road will be in the perfect spot. The only horse I'm afraid of in here is Omaha, because he's the same kind of runner with a really great turn of foot, and he'll be making that move from the back of the pack. I don't know if Omaha is good enough, but I know he's got a great, great closing kick. I just don't think he's better than Hill Road. So I'm going to stick with Hill Road and get all of the monies. And, you know, I don't even think he's the kind of horse that gets bet. Now, we all can see how well he's run, right? Breeders' Cup, great run in that juvenile race. Great run at Tampa, right? Coming off the layoff. He hadn't worked out for a while. Chad Brown said he was going through some bone deformation. So he was growing, right? So I think he's in the perfect spot. He had that break. Now he gets this second race off the layoff. I love Hill Road in this race. And I would be surprised if we got shorter than 9-2. And you know 9-2 is my jam. But with the presence of Rodriguez to the inside and Captain Cook, those 2 horses will take some play. Hill Road should be 9-2 or maybe even higher. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with that particular race coming up. That's one of the events at Aqueduct coming your way. One of 3 tracks we're going to focus on this week. Right? You got to watch the track and see how it's playing before you get to the big day. Same thing with Santa Anita. We'll talk about the Santa Anita Derby coming up later on this week. But that's also a track you have to watch this week to see how it's playing. And then on Friday, you know, we put a whole lot of pomp and circumstance into the meeting, but it's really great, lucrative meeting, and it's really fun. It's Keeneland. The spring meeting is coming up on Friday. The Ashland is going to be the race there for the fillies going into the Oaks. We'll talk about that when we get closer to that particular weekend. But for now, we focus in on Hill Road, celebrate the weekend winners that we had. Another weekend of winners, and didn't quite pay as much as last weekend, but we'll take it as we continue to move on. All right, that's how we get you set here on this Monday. A lot to look forward to this week. It's going to be crazy coming up Friday and Saturday and Sunday, and we're going to be in the right line to cash tickets and make a whole mess of money. In the meantime, in between time, until next time, I'm Ken Rudulph. We'll see you then. Until then, good luck and enjoy whatever you're into. Have a great week.